Good afternoon. Welcome to Options Tender. I have a few things to show you today, so make sure you stick around. We're looking at, I know we've been looking for a reversal. I think we are much closer. I have, right at the end, I'll show you exactly why I think today will be the top. If we do gap up into tomorrow, that will be a shorting opportunity. So make sure you stick around. If you're new here, go down to that bottom right hand corner, hit that Options Center logo and subscribe. We have a certain things that are coming together on this day. I know it's turnaround Tuesday. We didn't know if we would actually get the turnaround or not with our reversal type candles on the daily time frame. We did not. We're pushing. We had a trend day today, and I think this will be a local top. So we're going to go through SPY on the weekly down to the 65. I want to show you the Elliott wave, and I want to reiterate also on the Qs why I'm so binary on this move being either very bearish or very bullish in the next few months. Okay? And what negates that? And I think we're going to. I am bullish in the near term. I need to see a reversal with a higher low, but I do think price is going to get over our invalidation for the very bearish scenario really soon here. If not today, we have like 15 minutes left in the bell. It's 3:45, so maybe we do that. Maybe we don't. We'll see. So we have SPY on the weekly time frame. What we're looking at is so far a lower high up here. Sure, we could come up here and reverse. I don't think that's the case, but I will describe a scenario where that might happen. Okay, but right now we're looking at this 20 week simple moving average. That's a big spot for us. Okay, that's where bear markets usually have their trend, and we are below it. We need to get above that to continue to the upside. All right, just looking at some indicators, we're starting to get our buy signals on the weekly time frame, our early buy signals from the slow stoke. We're pushing up so far. We're getting into resistance here in the RSI. That's one reason why I think we go to make a higher low. I do think this RSI is going to pull back, possibly to this trend line here, and continue to break higher. Starting to curl after bottoming here on the 0 line. We're starting to curl, and we need to see a bullish crossover. So we're firming up on the bull side, where we have these hints that we are reversing, but we're not quite there yet. We still have some, we're in bearish positions, meaning that we're underneath that the 20 on the weekly time frame, so we could continue to go lower. We do have a pivot on the SPY. We'll be watching this pivot for the reversal. Perhaps I talked about the 425 area before we started the reversal to the upside. And so that 25 area is going to become a level to watch out for, and then the 420 below that, and obviously the lows, but 425 will be a level. This is a pivot, so we could get below it to get back above it. Let's move over to the daily time frame. So on the weekly, the most important item is this 20-week moving average. Moving over to the daily. On the daily time frame, we had our downtrend line there where we broke out from there, we gapped above it, we gapped back over this pivot here as well. Very bullish in the near term. I didn't move this head and shoulders line yet. It worked as great support and resistance. So perhaps we get up just a little bit further. Maybe we gap up into there tomorrow. That will be a objective short. We did put out a short for the members today, so we'll be looking out for that. Let me see if this line might be able to draw one that from these two pivots right there. Not quite to that point yet, if I'm drawing it correctly. From top to top, nope. But you see the confluence that's happening right there. So it could get up just a little bit higher. I don't think that's the case, but like I said, there's a reason why we're going short. We're in supply area here. So that's an objective short right in this area. We're going to have to see what happens tomorrow. If we gap down and go, perhaps, that's another situation because we're at supply. We just have a trend day and the market's not pulling back. But we are long off the bottom there. So what getting me a little bit bullish. Here's that, again, that trend line. Here's the 425 area. Could be a fast move. We'll see. We don't even have to go that far back, but there's a gap down there as well. So I do think one or two of these gaps are at least going to get filled. Now, we can look at our reversal patterns. We're way up top here. We're kind of tapping on this area, oversold or overbought. Just some conditions that say, hey, we might need to pull back a little bit before moving higher. No divergences. We don't think that we're going to make new lows at this point. It's still possible, but I don't really think so. We're starting to curl. We're getting that early signal from the slow stoke to curl over. We don't have any sell signals yet. Not on this time frame. On the lower time frames, I do think we'll start hitting those. We have our Keltner channel. We're above, so we might need to check back. I never thought we would actually get that high. We gapped above the 20 moving average, so that was a very bullish sign and just kept going, gap and go, and gap, straight up. You guys, this is unsustainable. So a lot of people are talking about the inverse. You have the left shoulder head, and then make some sort of right shoulder. It could be pretty shallow to make the right shoulder. It doesn't have to come down very far. But we do have our 200-day moving average down here that coincides with this pivot as well. So that's something to look at. It would be normal for us to check back to this 20 simple moving average after exhausting such a move like this, seeing how the Keltner channels are stretched there. All right, so on our ADX, we have we're past the Bollinger Band middle. Clearly, we didn't come down to the bottom of the channel. So, do we go to the top and make new highs? That's not out of the cards. We talked a lot more about this. We chit chatted a little back and forth with the members. So, I'll just let you know this is possible to go test this area before heading back down. And I don't mean in the near term. I mean after working our way up there into the holiday season and such. January it could be further. It could be out to March. This McClellan oscillator, we're starting to diverge here. We're starting to get higher highs on the McClellan oscillator. That's a big deal. We're starting to get lower highs here. I can go ahead and move this over now. So we're getting bearish divergence on the oscillator. We're getting much weaker. We'll see what happens. I have some things to show you on the 65-minute. So we'll talk about that for a second. That's all I want to show to some of our indicators here on this initial move up. If this is initial A or initial 1, wave 1, either way, this is a hell of a move. We do need at least sideways consolidation. We can do it in time, or we can do it in price and have a nice swift dip. If this is a 1, you'd expect a 1 to go into a zigzag for wave 2, and that typically goes a little lower, 60% retracement. But we'll check out those retracements and show you where we think those might go. It could be the 423 area to close the gap. We have some of those retracements on the 65. So make sure you stick around. If you want to get these videos often, go ahead and hit that notification button. We try to do these videos as often as possible Every once in a while, we'll get a couple videos out. So yesterday we talked about the tech and why tech is screaming buy the dip whenever we do get our dip. We just haven't gotten our dip yet. So tech is screaming buy the dip, and so make sure you watch that video. It's super important why I'm switching to the more bullish scenario. And I don't mean bullish necessarily to all-time highs. It could be a lower high. It could be that Bollinger Band that just makes a slight new high. That's where I'm kind of thinking. That's where my mind's going. So we'll see. Otherwise, even if you're looking for a zigzag up, which I don't think that's the case because this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is possible. We get a zigzag up, that would be a lower high, and we continue down lower. QQQ says otherwise. And so you got to watch the video to tell you. It goes in much more depth why I think the lower high here isn't really in the cards. It's not very probable. So we're getting a slight pullback here in the end, but let's go down to the 65. We can see what's going on. We should be rejecting. We should be rejecting from this point. And yes, we are. We're starting to get a reversal off of this gap. The continued gap here was larger before, but we filled most of it. And so the important thing that I want to say, all right, the big bearish picture that we had in mind, it looks, it's not gone yet. It looks unlikely because of this huge move, but it's not gone. Okay. This would mean this is a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 setup. Well, let me move in closer. This top right here, that top 438.14. I have an alert set there. We did not take that out. So we cannot negate the big bear picture. Now it's a little more unlikely with this V recovery, and if we gap up tomorrow, take it out, perhaps that's the case. If we don't, we still have in the cards to make new lows. All right, so you can't take that out of the cards, but this is looking awfully impulsive to where we should get a pullback. I have the green area here, kind of updated the areas. We drifted a little bit higher today. We start breaking down. We're breaking down the last few minutes here. That's going to give us a indecision candle. We have a spinning top right now on the daily time frame. So we have our divergences all built up on the 65 and all the lower time frames. All of these divergences. So we have, let me find some, okay. So right here we have sell signal with bearish divergence. Made new highs here, bearish divergence, triple bearish divergence. We're getting the crossover, so we got our sell signal. Let me duplicate this and get us a red circle up there. We have our sell signal on all of our indicators, and so that's why we put our SPY puts on. That's why we put on our alert. Okay, so we're looking for the reversal. I think we got it right now, today. And this will show us a little bit more. All right, McClellan oscillator, not McClellan, excuse me, the Williams %R, same thing. We got our sell signal, we got our bearish divergence, and we crossed over. We have Keltner channels that we're looking at, just riding above them. Now we're back under. We're using it as resistance at this point. Something else to look at. Again, divergence. And then we'll go over to the... But I still have the bearish picture on the regular Elliott wave. We did not cross up there. We don't have to close up there. We just need to cross to take out that bearish situation. And we did not do that today. So it's still on the table. This is possibly a really deep 1, 2. But look, this is what's really important about today. We have, let me do this so you can see the highs. We have November 7th. We have a time factor right here from high to high to high. All right. So we have time, we have price where we're in resistance, and also another time factor, low to high. Okay. Super important. Super important. And then we'll use this other low later on, but we have time and price connecting, and typically that's a really, really good spot for a reversal. We're taking our chances here. We are adding on to our puts. We have some longer term puts that we started actually down right at this gap into late November, and then we added on, I believe, just a couple times, and now we have a near term this week puts. Okay, so the bell's about to ring. That's mainly what I want to show you. And on the Qs, just want to show on the Qs, it's the same concept. I know you're saying, hey, we're breaking out and stuff like that, but same concept. This high needs to be taken out. 373, there's the bell. 373.74 needs to be taken out in order for this big bear picture to be negated. And I don't think there's a middle point of view. Some people are saying, yeah, well, even if this is ABC, you could get a pullback and then continue for a larger A, B, and then C. And I just don't think that's the case. You do that and you're starting to get really, really bullish. I know that pullback further down, it just means that you're probably getting a 1, 2 setup and moving much higher. Okay? That there's nothing else, an A and a B, and unless that C is somehow going to give us new lows, like down here. Those kind of new lows. Otherwise, you're just getting an A, B, and a C for a much bigger 1, 2 setup and going much, much higher. I think that's way more bullish. I don't think that's the scenario. And if you looked at my past videos, you know that it can't be a 5-wave move down like SPX. So how can I meet in the middle? How can I say, well, if SPX has a lower high and you see how strong tech is, maybe tech doesn't even dip that further. Maybe SPX gets a lower high, but tech makes a new high. That's the only scenario where I see SPX, SPY, ES making a lower high. If tech runs really hard, makes a new high, but SPX doesn't, and then we start retreating. All right, in both those situations, I don't think we make a new all-time high. So overall, that's what I want to show you, is the two things. Time and price came together. That was super important for us to get our reversal. I know we were calling it. We didn't know how far we would go, but this is a wonderful setup to reverse on SPY. So I hope this helps. Into tomorrow, we should have a nice pullback into next week. All right, you guys. And also QQQ. I don't think SPX is going to make a lower high. Meaning, and maybe I'm saying this a little bit weird. Meaning, let me go down to lower time frame. That what we're doing is breaking this high, making a lower high, and calling this an A, B, and C lower. I think that's bullish. I think that's bullish in the long term. Okay? I still have on the, as an alternative, but this is I'm leaning more towards this way, that we have an ABC and that we head up to make a new high here, and then we head down. Okay. And this one in particular is a little bit more bullish, to where it's an ending expanding diagonal, and we make all-time highs. Okay. I think the all-time high is in already. So I don't think this is quite the scenario. I do think we're going to make a new recent high. But like I said, if we do happen to have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then, so this is still a wave 1. I wonder if I don't think I have a scenario. I don't have the scenario mapped out. I did it some time ago. But if this is all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is a wave 1, and all we're doing right now is getting A, some sort of B, could be shallow, could be deep, and a C, maybe in a 62 or 786 retracement, you get a lower high here. I think by then, if this is maybe a deep pullback here for the 786, up here at a 448, and then we start reversing off of there with a 3-wave move, I think the Qs will have to have a high by then. And I think that's a valid play. Okay? I know it keeps switching back. But if the Qs, you go a little bit larger. If the Qs make a new high, perhaps up in this 391 area, while SPX makes a lower high, then all that tells me is that we finished our wave 2 or wave B. You get a hold of that. There it is. Just up here instead of right here. The A, initial A down or 1. You can call it A or 1. B or 2. And then we continue the bear market lower. All right. That could be the situation where we get a slight new high, where B ends just a little bit higher, and all of this supply here at the possible 887. And if the SPY, SPX or ES, looks to make a lower high, perhaps back at that 786 up there, or the 786 here, wherever the case is, a lower high with the 3-wave move into it, and the Qs make a new high, and we continue down. It just means that we topped first in the market. We topped up here as a local high. We don't take that out. Qs do. This looks more bearish anyway. This is really stretching out to the bear side. It already topped in that situation. Qs finally get their new high, and then they have to take control to the downside. They really start reversing and leading down there. So that's our sort of our middle situation. Most bearish situation, we reverse from here and continue lower. Middle would be that whole thing that I was just talking about. Okay, but I do think we get our reversal here today on SPY. All right. And then our bullish scenario, the SPX or SPY could make a new high with QQQ. It doesn't really matter. They both say the same thing. It's both same situation. We just have to see where they are in the future. See where they're both at when and if that happens. And then you have the much more, I already went through the video. If the bears drop the ball, the much more bullish situation where this is an expanding diagonal. They're all wave threes, but they get larger as they go. Wave 1, 2, 3 is larger than 1, 4 is larger than 2, and then 5, there's 100% up there. It has to be above that 100%, which that means we make new all-time highs. 5 has to be longer than 3. Expanding diagonal, and then maybe we get up. We don't have to get up to the top trend line, but it'll lead us into new highs plus a little bit higher, possibly into the 500 area. Okay, so those are 3 situations that we're looking at. What is my most likely situation? My most likely situation in my mind is that our top is in. I think our top is still in. There's just too many things that point at the top being in. We just have to figure this out in the meantime, and we don't make new highs. I think that's the least likely situation. I'm not taking it off the table, but I think that's the least likely situation is we make new highs. I think that this one might have a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then not counting this as a ending diagonal, and then we make a slight new high. That's always a possibility into an 80% retracement. All right. Hope that helps. Don't forget to like the video. I'll really, as we get more information, I'll update you on what's more likely in my mind, because right now they're sticking us in between 2 situations, and then the more bearish one is really just a hair from being negated, just a hair, and that would be devastating to the bullish scenarios if we made new lows. I mean, everybody is set up for a head and shoulder right now. Everybody. Is that contrarian? Sure. We'll see. We're going to be looking for a higher low. If we put protection as we do it and we get lower, that's very bearish, and we'll have to switch again. Okay? All right. Thanks for joining us here at Option 7 Tender. Have a wonderful day. We'll talk to you soon.